Hello everybody, and welcome to your regularly scheduled before bedtime video post, which some might call a bed post. No? Nobody? No? Okay. I have a question slash challenge for theists, specifically Christians, I think, on YouTube, who have been making the claim, the sort of offering up the question or the challenge for atheists that, without God, how can you be moral? How can you know right from wrong? What is your moral compass? How can you justify good or bad behavior if you don't believe in a higher power? That whole thing. I sort of want to throw that challenge back, not without tweaking it a little bit, but my question is, if it is true that morality is not accessible or not possible without a supreme being, without an objective sort of morality maker, then it seems to be that there would be there'd be two possibilities. Then, if you can't have morality without God, either God is the sole arbiter and dictator for what morality is. God, if God says it's right, it's right. If God says it's wrong, it's wrong. It's not right or wrong independently of what God says. It's dictated solely by God's opinion or decision, I guess. And that would mean that, right doesn't really mean right. It just means what God said, and wrong doesn't really mean wrong. It just means what God says is wrong. And in that case, morality becomes meaningless. I mean, literally, morality would not mean anything other than what God said, because you can't put a value upon it. You can't put a standard or use a judgment system for it, because God's the one judging. So we have no way of evaluating whether or not God is even doing a good job in deciding what is right and wrong, because right and wrong doesn't mean anything outside of what God says is right and wrong. So that seems to be a problem, and I don't know how that would be any more practical or instructive than an atheistic version of morality, which is based on common sense and experience and efficiency and needs and wants and hopes, stuff like that. The other possibility, if it's not that, if God's not the arbiter of what right and wrong is that morality does exist objectively outside of consciousness, outside of human consciousness, outside of God's consciousness even more. There is like an actual objective moral standard in the universe, and even if all minds, all consciousness, all thought stopped, those standards of right and wrong would still be true. And if this were the case, then I guess, with things like the Bible and the Ten Commandments and whatnot, God would be just, I don't know, you tell me, like interpreting what that standard is for human beings, or just passing it along or passing it down, but it does exist outside of God. So, if that's the case, then how does the claim still hold up that you need God in order to have morality or understand morality or have a moral compass? Obviously you don't, because morality even exists outside of God. So you don't need God. You don't need the middleman. So that's my question. If it's one of those two, either God defines morality and morality is then meaningless because all it means is what God said, or morality does exist objectively outside of God and we don't even need God. In which case the argument towards atheists is moot. So that's my sort of challenge slash question slash argument, and I'm hoping for some sort of justification for that dilemma from the theists and Christians on YouTube, if you would indulge me so. Thank you, everybody. Good night and good luck.